Hello, and welcome to another Writerly Witterings. Today, we've got a new book coming out, so I thought I'd better mention this. This is called Motives for Murder. It's the latest book brought out by the Detection Club, and it's going to be ready for sale on the 11th of November, I believe. It's a lovely book. It's a collection of short stories by members of the Detection Club. And I get to mention it because I am the on-secretary now of the Detection Club. And the book's been produced to celebrate the 80th birthday of Peter Lovesey. It's really hard to believe that Peter Lovesey is 80 years old. He certainly doesn't behave like an 80-year-old. He's a lovely guy, a delightful bloke. And it was decided that we members of the Detection Club will bring out a book to celebrate his birthday for him. So there's Anne Cleves, Simon Brett, Andrew Taylor, me, Michael Ridpath, and a whole bunch of other authors have submitted our short stories to compile this book. And it is a great read. It's a number of different types of crime story, depending on what you want. You will find a number of stories here that really appeal. It's got brilliant characters, and it's all to do with the Detection Club. If you don't know what the Detection Club is, it was founded by people like Agatha Christie, Dorothy Sayers, G.K. Chesterton, Anthony Berkeley in 1930. And it's been ticking along ever since then, with new members being invited to join from all over the world, but mostly UK writers. And it exists basically so that crime writers can meet up fairly regularly and just discuss crime and the tribulations of being authors and enjoy some good drinks and good food together, which I think is a perfectly good reason for having any sort of a club. So I can thoroughly recommend this. Motives for Murder. Your favourite crime writers will be in it, and it's going to be out in November. A great buy. Hope you enjoy it. And now, having said that, November, of course, is the month of NaNoWriMo, which is National November Writing Month, isn't it? And as with a lot of other things, the whole motivation is to get other people to a level where they're getting their own books written and published. I had to judge a couple of competitions recently, and it was really obvious that a lot of the basic things were being ignored. If you're going to write, whether you're writing just for your personal pleasure or for profit, but you intend to compete in a competition or something, it is really important that you stick to the rules of the competition. All competitions, writing competitions, will have their own rules. And it's not rocket science. Read what the rules are and make sure you adhere to them. I've had people write in, this is when I was organising the Crime Writers Association debut dagger. One of the basic rules was nothing handwritten, everything had to be typed. And we'd every year get a number of submissions that were handwritten. Another rule was it must be double-line spaced. Usually about 30% of the entries were single-line spaced. I assume because the authors wanted to keep the cost of paper down to a minimum. But it doesn't work. If you're putting in an entry to a competition, the rules are there for a reason. And if you don't adhere to the rules, then you can be thrown out of the short list almost immediately, or in the long list. Another thing that is very important is do read through all of your work and read it out aloud. Don't just read it on a screen in your head, because you'll miss most of the typos. Print it out onto paper and walk around your room reading it aloud. By doing that, you'll spot so many more typos, and you'll also be able to hear the cadences of the language while you're actually reading it. It's much, much easier to spot problems with written text if you read it aloud. Another thing is, don't print double-sided if it says print on one side only. If it says give a synopsis of the story, make sure you give a proper full synopsis. That does not mean leaving a cliffhanger in the synopsis. It doesn't mean getting to a point where you say, And then if you want to find out what the ending is, you have to read the full story, because no one in a competition or an editor is going to accept that. An editor or a judge of the competition needs to know that you've got a fully plotted story. They want to know what the ending is going to be. Leaving them with a cliffhanger just means you'll be rejected, I'm afraid. If it says loose leaf, do not bind. One of the first things that any professional editor or judge is going to do is take any binding off your work. And there is a basic rule in publishing, which is the quality of the writing is inversely proportional to the amount of effort spent in binding and getting a nice picture done. Basically, if you have professionally bound with a picture on the front cover and everything else, it means that the quality of the writing inside is less good. That's a natural assumption from people. However, if you're going to enter NaNoWriMo or a series of competitions, do it for fun. If you win something at the end of the day, then that can be great. I write every year. This book, with my contribution in it, is the 7th book I've published this year with a contribution from me. There's been another collection of short stories, 2 other collections of short stories rather. There's been another book which was a collaborative book with the Detection Club, and I've published Rebellion's Message, the 3rd part of my Vintner trilogy. I've written 2.5 books already this year as well. I am not expecting to win the Man Booker Prize. It's a great shame because they pay £50,000 to the winner. I would love to get 50,000 quid extra. We could guarantee a holiday next year, but I'm not going to win it. I write because I write things that I enjoy reading. I don't write assuming I'm going to make myself a multimillionaire. If that happens, that's a bonus. If you're taking up writing now, don't assume you're going to be a millionaire next year, because it almost certainly won't happen. But if you write because you really enjoy it, then you might just excite someone else and make them want to read it too. So that's my message. Enter all these things, but if you're going to enter something where there are rules, read the rules, make sure you stick to the rules. Do not deflect from sticking to the rules, and enjoy what you're writing, because then at the end of the day you have something that may well win prizes and might even get you published. And enjoy it. And in the meantime, if you want to see how professional crime writers write their books, I'll plug it again. That's the one to go for. It'll be out in November. Enjoy your reading, enjoy your writing. Thanks very much. If you've got any questions, put them down the bottom. If you've got suggestions for future videos, put that down the bottom as well. And follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and tell your friends about it, share it, like it, all the things, you know the stuff. And I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.